out the time on a busy Friday evening.
Yeah, I'm joining from New Jersey, Jersey City. So, hi from Seattle. Hi, Maddie. Welcome. Awesome. So we have a packed agenda, and Donnie has actually prepared so much. I'm gonna go get started with some introduction about products by women, and then we can probably get started exactly at 5 p.m. Does that sound good? Yeah, cool. So again, everybody, welcome. I'm Naimisha Murthy. I'm the founder and creator of Products by Women and a senior PM at Huge. Donnie, if you can just let people in as I'm doing the introduction, that'll be great. Before we do get started, I want to say a big thank you for everybody who's here. Thank you for investing in yourself on a Friday evening. I also want to say thank you to Aratrika. She's been an amazing volunteer, contributor, and supporter of Products by Women. So, Donnie, thank you so much for always giving back time and making time for us. Also, some general housekeeping rules. This event is being recorded, and we will be sharing it via our email and our YouTube channel. So, stay tuned for that. Please do feel free to drop your questions in the chat box, and we will be answering them at the end of the session. I will be dropping our networking sheet and our Slack information in exactly a second. So feel free to drop your information there and connect with each other. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about monetizing your side hustle, do check out our events on productsbywomen.com. The event is actually on February 22nd. Lastly, if you'd like to speak or moderate an upcoming session, do reach out to us on productsbywomen.com. And with that, Donnie, hi again and welcome. I'll pass it over to you.
Thanks, Naimisha. And hi, everyone. First of all, I want to say thanks to Naimisha. She's been, such a great support in the last 2 years. 2 years, yeah, since the pandemic started. I've never met her in person, but she's been such a force to, reckon with. And she has become a friend and somebody who's helped in career progression in the last 2 years with the help of Products by Women. And I'm so excited that all of you could take out the time today. So we'll just go ahead and get started. I'll share my screen and please let me know if you're able to see the slides.
Yep, we can see it.
All right. So today's session is going to be about how to break into product marketing. I'm just going to talk about my journey briefly, how I pivoted from advertising to product marketing into tech, the skills that I carried over, the skills that I learned, and how to prepare for an interview if you are trying to break into product marketing. So, excuse me. To give you a brief agenda for today, I'm going to talk about what encompasses product marketing, how is it different than product management, what are the skill sets necessary to ace your interview and just to be generally successful in this role, some important interview questions you can prepare for a product marketing position. And towards the end, we'll have some time for you to ask me any questions you have. So a little about me. My name is Aratrika, but my preferred name is Donnie. That was just my nickname that stuck with me since I was a child, and I preferred that name. I am a product marketing manager at Experian Health, where I lead go-to-market strategies for our revenue cycle management solutions, patient identity, and patient engagement solutions. Before that, I worked at a similar role at TransUnion. TransUnion's healthcare business unit, which has now been acquired by Enthrive. And for my MBA internship, I worked at CenturyLink for their cloud services division, which is also now known as Lumen Technologies. Before product marketing happened, I used to be an advertising copywriter working for agencies like Ogilvy, JWT, Mullen-Lowe. And I would say a lot of the foundational marketing principles and learnings in my career has been from my advertising life. I live in Denver, Colorado. Like I said, it's known as the Mile High City. It's a great hub for startups, especially in the tech industry. And I went to CU Boulder, that is the University of Colorado Boulder, for my MBA degree. And I'm also a proud member of the Products by Women community. It's given me a lot in the last 2 years and really helped me network with some amazing women in tech who have really helped me hone my skills and just helped me transition to a tech role while I graduated during a pandemic. And lastly, I'm also a meditator. I meditate every day. And I think meditation is something that really helps me bring my best self at work. So moving on, what is product marketing? That's a tricky question. And one thing that I've heard a lot of people in tech say is not product marketers, but others, they say that, oh, product marketing is when a product manager puts a product on shelf and the product marketeer, takes it off the shelf. And I do not agree with that. And I'm never going to use that definition ever. I feel like that really minimizes the value of what product marketing really does. I think product marketing is such a dynamic position that interfaces with different functions within the organization. It's hard to get a clear-cut definition for that, but I'm going to try my best. But before that, I wanted to share you a story. While I was babysitting my friend's 9-year-old kid, he asked me, he saw me working and he's like, "What do you do, Auntie?" And his parents are engineers. So he kind of knew what his parents did and he was just curious. And I was like, "Oh, I'm in product marketing." He's like, "Yeah, but what do you do?" And I was at a loss of words. I was like, "Yeah, how do I tell him what do I do?" So I told him, "Well, I, I help sell our software products." And he's like, "Oh, so you're in sales?" And I was like, "Well, I help sales, but I'm not really in sales." And yeah, so just trying to put a little bit of my dry humor in. And I just told him that, well, it's like marketing, but it's like a really cool part of marketing. And he seemed satisfied for now, but I still felt like I did not justify the the product marketing role to him completely. So moving on, what is actually product marketing? In my view, this is my viewpoint. Every people might have different viewpoints, but this is what I think. Product marketing is really an advocate for the customer's voice. As businesses have evolved in the last few years, businesses have become extremely customer centric and they really dominate what the business does. And product marketing is that function of the organization which tells you what the customer wants and what are his or her pain points. And they really help you bring the product to the market by positioning it in such a way so that you stand out from your competitors and lead this launch into something that is sustainable, so that you're not only introducing a product, but you're also driving its adoption and sustained growth over the years. And lastly, I would say product marketing is really defining what your product does in a very disruptive and competitive market. As I mentioned, product marketing is a very is a position that interfaces with different stakeholders within the organization. And at least currently in my role, there are four different job functions that I work with. First is sales. Sales is, I would consider the sales department as another customer for product marketing, especially in terms of sales enablement, because they are the ones who are selling your product out in the market. And it is the product marketeer's responsibility to arm them with content, different tools, and marketing material to really help them sell better. Second is product managers. I've heard people say that product marketeers work for product managers, but that's not the truth. Nobody works for that's a wrong no that's a wrong way to paraphrase what product marketeers do. Everybody works for the product and everybody works for the company, which and with the ultimate objective being to drive revenue, right? We all work in a company to earn money. So product marketing, when it comes to working with product managers, it's very strategic. And I would say that when it comes to market research, that is when product marketing bring those customer insights and competitive intelligence to product managers so that they know what features to build, what product to build, and which market it should be sold at. Thirdly is customer success. In a lot of organizations, customer success can be a part of the sales team, or it can be an individual organization within the bigger unit. And it is imperative for product marketeers to really understand how the customer experience has been, so that they can influence both customer product adoption and decrease customer churn. And lastly, engineers. Now, not all organizational structures are designed in a way that product marketeers work with engineers, but in a lot of cases they do, especially when building a product and coming back to the product and engineering team, telling them what is working with the product, what is not working with the product. Influencing product adoption, and also giving competitive intelligence about our competitors' products. What's the difference between product marketing and product management? There's a lot of difference, but I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about the common areas that product marketing and product management get to work. And the simplest answer to that would be they are strategic partners who are ultimately working for the product, which is the hero, right? And when I'm talking about strategic partners, what do I mean? I feel like not I feel I know that a lot of times marketing is seen as something, as an organization that is doing tactical work, but it is not really the truth. Product marketing and product management really need to get together to create a product strategy that includes understanding everything about the customer, the market, the competitive landscape, and how to sustain growth over a period of time. In my current role, I create personas and positioning and differentiators based on research, market research, and competitive intelligence with my product managers, and that is the basis of creating all of our campaigns, go-to-market strategies, and sales enablement efforts. Moving on, I'm going to talk about product marketing responsibilities that you would see in most of the job descriptions that are out there, especially in tech companies. Now, this is not an exhaustive list. I have not written down everything over here. These are mostly the skills that I see that are being asked in the market the most. I might have missed one or two, but as I mentioned, this is not an exhaustive list. The first is go-to-market strategy. Now, go-to-market strategy is a term that I see thrown around everywhere, but what is it exactly? And if you really ask me, I would like to say it in one word. It's your plan about how you take your product to market in terms of positioning, and in terms of how you differentiate yourself from your competitors. And lastly, how do you sustain the growth of a product over years? Go-to-market strategies are extremely important, not only when you're having a product launch, but also feature launches and when you're looking at sustained growth for a product that might have launched a few quarters ago. Most go-to-market strategies are a very cross-functional process, and you can have people from product management, engineering. Some organizations even have strategy, sales, and sales. All of these people are the important stakeholders in this process. And it at the end of the day, the objective of a go-to-market strategy is to really drive revenue, right? As I mentioned, everybody works for the product and the company, and the end objective is to drive revenue. And one of the most biggest advantages about go-to-market strategies, I believe, is the accountability. It really articulates which team does what and the timeline associated with these activities and who's accountable for driving that effort. Go to market is something that you will see time and again in most job descriptions. And I would say, even if you have not had any experience leading go to market strategies, that you might not have, of course, if you're just starting out, that's okay. Try and see how you can align your past experiences to any product launches or any of the activities listed under go to market, and really let it shine in your resume. Moving on, secondly, I'm going to talk about positioning and messaging. Positioning and messaging a lot of times are confused as something that are synonymous, but they are not. They complement each other, but they are not the same thing. Positioning is the same as really establishing your service or your product in your customer's mind, and really standing out in the market in terms of your feature and value props. Messaging comes out of the positioning, and messaging really drives down the value to the customer. Positioning and messaging is something that is really important to product marketing, and it really brings down again the value that the customer derives from your product or service. You can have an amazing product in the market, but if you cannot really articulate the value that the customer gets out of it, everything is just going to fall apart. Your marketing plan will have no substance. And I hear a lot of times people talk about messaging like wordsmithing. Messaging is not wordsmithing. You do not have to be, an English lit major to get this correct. You just need to know, how do I articulate the value of my product succinctly and impactfully to the correct customer? The next is research. Research is my favorite subject, and I think research is required in all jobs, but especially in product marketing. Research is extremely important when it comes to competitive intelligence and your customers. It not only helps you create personas to understand your customer better and their pain points, but it also helps you understand how your customer is evolving. Your customer is not the same that they were 2 years ago, and keeps you updated with whatever is happening in the market. And it's also a great tool when it comes to sales enablement, because you need to really arm your sales with battle cards. It's like they're going to war. When when there are objections that comes against your product from other competitors. So research is something very important that all product marketeers need to be really, really good at. And you do not have to be an expert in whatever field you are, but you need to be updated with all that is happening in your market. Now, these are the next three important responsibilities that I've come across in product marketing roles. The first one is sales enablement. This is more B2B than B2C, because as I mentioned, in B2B, sales is another customer of the product marketeer. And it is really the product marketing's responsibility to arm the salespeople with relevant content and relevant materials to really present the best picture about your product or service to the customer. Now, sales enablement also is not just it's just not a one-way street. You get a lot of competitive intelligence from your sales organization, especially when they are competing with other sales reps from competitors. They know what they are trying to sell, and they can actually give you really crucial insights that you cannot find through maybe a web search or through any other CI tools. Moving on, I'm going to talk about analytics. As I mentioned, a lot of people think that product marketing is a very tactical role, and it could not be further from the truth. I feel like in the last few years, especially with data, product marketing has become more and more analytical and strategic, especially when it comes to measuring all product marketing efforts that are done and customer insights. It really helps you understand an analytical, an analytical driven product marketing mindset really helps you understand how your product marketing plan is bringing in results that you wanted. We all can have great marketing campaigns and plans, but if you do not know how to measure those efforts, um, it's just a waste of resources. And lastly, I'm going to talk about stakeholder management. I feel like this is something that is neglected by a lot of discussions, but product marketing, since it interfaces with so many different departments, it's really crucial to provide your support to the different stakeholders you work with, whether it's sales or product management. And when you provide this support, it's also very important to understand that the objectives of these stakeholders might not be the same as yours. Their objective might be getting a salesperson's objective might be getting, more a higher deal, a higher size deal value. And for a product management person, it might be, higher product adoption or a higher number of monthly users. But at the same time, it is the product marketeer's responsibility to align product marketing goals with their goals and ultimately bring the business goal into picture and work in tandem with them. And as I said, remember, their objectives is not the same as ours. So you have to give them the the space to work the way they do, and also provide them the support that they need, and understand that we all are working differently for different objectives, and it's okay if your goal is not seen as the most important goal for your stakeholders. So now we are going to talk about interview preparation. In interview preparation, I'm going to talk about your resume, the top 5 questions that I encountered while giving interviews in the last year, books that helped me in my interview prep, and other resources. For resume, I'm not going to talk that much. I feel like there are lots of resources out there that tell you how to, design a good resume. But from a product marketing point of view, I can just say a few things. Make sure that your resume lists down the most impactful projects that you have done in your past career. Please make sure that you follow the star format. And even if you cannot follow the star format, make sure that you always show results from whatever projects you did. I see a lot of times people literally say, write very vague descriptions of the work they did. If you do not show the impact that your work has done and the abilities that you used or the skills that you used to get those results, it's going to be a little hard for the hiring manager to understand what value you'll get. And it's okay if you cannot get your resume there 100%, just at least 50%. Make sure that you really bring out the value and the impact you have done in your last roles. And another important thing, if you're applying for product marketing roles, make sure that there are no typos in your resume. This I have seen a lot that has happened. There are lots of grammar checking softwares out there, because product marketing is a very client facing responsibility, and hiring managers wouldn't want to hire someone with typos in their resume. I'm not going to comment about how long your resume will be. I feel like as long as your resume is impactful and really shows the value you bring, uh, page length is not such a big deal. Moving on to the questions. So, the top 5 interview questions that I get to hear. The first is about yourself. Everybody's familiar with this question, but I see a lot of people mess it up, including myself. But I would say this is the best chance to really shine and really talk about what your skills are, what your strengths are, and give relevant examples while you're talking about it. For example, whenever somebody asks me this question, I tell them my name and just straight dive. I don't tell them where I live or where I work. They know it through my resume. I straight dive into, I started off in advertising, working for the top agencies like Ogilvy, and my experience there really solidified my foundation for marketing. But I wanted to pivot to more strategic roles in tech. So I decided to go to business school. And in business school, subjects like finance and accounting and marketing really helped me understand business from a holistic point of view. And after business school, I got an internship in product marketing, and that's how I broke into product marketing. And if you have any important projects that you want to talk about, you can just say this in my whole career, this is the most exciting project that I worked on. Make sure that you do not speak more than 2.5 minutes, or not even 2.5 minutes, more than 2 minutes. Next is product launch. For product marketing, a lot of times you would be asked about product launch, and this is a great place to talk about any GTM strategy functions that you were in, especially in terms of targeting, segmenting, and positioning, and sales enablement, and how you finally had an impact in terms of revenue or any other product related goal. Thirdly, how do you work with sales? This is something that product marketeers get to hear a lot, especially in B2B companies. And I would say that always give an example of how you work with sales and position sales as an audience and a stakeholder at the same time. And always talk about the influence that you had on them and the adoption that you were able to bring forth because of that influence. Adoption can be anything. They can be adoption of marketing materials or sales training, etc. Case studies is not something that I enjoy, but you might get to do them, especially if you're just starting out in product marketing. Whenever I did case studies, none of the organizations got back to me, so I'm not a big fan of them. But if it's a good idea to practice how to do case studies, and I'll tell you how in the next slide. There's a book for that. And lastly, one project you're proud of. This is a little similar to product launch, but I think this is a really good example to talk about any other skills that you did not get to talk about in any other questions, or the interviewer did not ask you. And make sure that whatever project you speak about is wholesome. It talks about all the stakeholders, and it really has that amazing ROI or impact that you were able to drive, so as the hiring manager really takes notice of what you did. All right. So the books, I told you about the case studies. So cracking the PM interview book really helped me understand how to answer these case study questions, especially when it came to, figuring out the market and the logical reasoning part of it. It really helps you build that discipline when answering these case study questions. Now, you might be thinking, I'm a product marketeer person, why am I talking about a PM interview book? But I feel like there are a lot of skills that overlap between product marketing and product management, and I have had instances where I was asked product management questions in a product marketing interview, especially when it came to sales, and especially when it came to sales. So if you really want to figure out case study questions, please give this book please use this book. And the other books that really helped me were Breakthrough Marketing Plans. It's by a Kellogg professor called Tim Calkins. A lot of the examples in the book are healthcare marketing because that's what his expertise is in. But the frameworks in this book are so precise that you can apply it to any industry that you work in. And another book that has really helped me is the Lean Product Playbook. Again, I don't think it's only for product managers, it's for product marketeers too, especially when creating persona development and creating value props for a B2B audience. All right. Ogilvy's memo, maybe because I have bias towards advertising, but as I mentioned, as a product marketer, you need to have solid communication skills. And if you have time, please go through this memo. It's very precise on how to write simply and effectively. Other resources, Products by Women, of course. I think it's an amazing platform where you get such valuable knowledge at free of cost and are able to network with women in tech from different parts of United States and Canada and the world. And it has helped me a lot, especially in terms of not just interview prep, but how do I negotiate my salary, how do I work with different stakeholders. I love this community, and I wish you find some value from it too. Some other resources are Product Marketing Alliance. Their community is pretty robust too, and they have a pretty decent certificate course for product marketing. Gartner and Forrester have great B2B insights for product marketeers, and Pragmatic Marketing is a very data-driven product marketing community and course that I have seen. And yeah, lastly, it was really good to have you all over here. And if you want to connect with me, I am available on LinkedIn, and that's my email ID. If you have any questions, please shoot me an email and we can set up some time. Um, I'm happy to help how much ever I can, but know that, it's okay to not have all your questions. If you're still, if you just want to reach out to me, even if you don't have questions, I'm happy to do that too. And yeah, thank you for making it today on a busy Friday evening. It was lovely to see you all, and I'll open it up for questions right now.
Well, thank you so much, Donnie. This was amazing. I think you packed so much information in like 30 minutes. That's amazing. I have some questions prepared, and for everyone here, feel free to raise your hand and or drop your questions in the chat. We'll be happy to invite you to ask your questions directly. I want to start at the very top, which is what does your typical day really look like as a product marketer?
Gotcha. So my typical day, well, I can tell you, not all days look the same. Some days are more productive than the others, and I guess that's okay. In the Typically my days are, first I take stock of all my deliverables that are due for the week, and the meetings that are due. Some of the meetings are more strategic than the others, and as I mentioned, most of my meetings are with product managers and sales reps. And I also focus a lot of time on focus work during the day so that I can get some work done based on my deliverables and whatever goals I'm trying to achieve in that quarter. But most of my responsibilities are around positioning and messaging, whether they are making data sheets or client facing decks. A lot of them, sometimes not a lot, but sometimes I do a lot of client facing calls too, especially when it's related to case studies and strategic calls with product managers and sales when there's a product launch or feature launch happening. You get together, you brainstorm, especially when you're involved in the GTM process. And yeah, some organizations are designed differently. They have daily stand-ups, not in mine. I think it depends upon the size, but we follow a very agile methodology just in the product marketing team, which is only 2 people, but just moving through the tasks and prioritizing your stuff based on, again, as I say, what you have signed up for the quarter.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
You know, in your chat and in your in your presentation, you briefly mentioned about how you do marketing, but a cool part of marketing, right?
yeah.
Um, so I really wanted to kind of spend a minute talking about, from your experience, how has product marketing or marketing in general evolved over the years?
Gotcha. So before I answer that question, I also wanted to let you know that product marketing sometimes sits within product in some organizations that I don't generally agree with, but it is how it is. And in certain organization, product marketing sits within the bigger marketing umbrella, and you can have marketing, communications and events marketing and digital marketing, working simultaneously. And to answer that question, how it has evolved, I would definitely say it has become more customer centric. The customer has a lot of say on what they want, and they have become more demanding. They are not just satisfied with one option that you give them in the market, and I think that's great because that really pushes for innovation. And secondly, I feel like because of data, you can really measure what you're doing. You can get better customer insights, how your marketing plans are working, and just measuring everything that you do and pivoting based on that data that you get. And I also feel that stakeholder management has become more collaborative because of technology. You have, we are all working through pandemic, and we all work remotely, but all of this technology like Zoom and Asana or Trello has made it so much easier to collaborate with different stakeholders, and that has really made product marketing at par with other functions within the organization.
Thank you. And I'm going to sprinkle in some incoming questions as well.
Sure.
There's a question around, like, can you give an example of some deliverables in product marketing? Like, are there any artifacts that you actively work on, or maybe just an example from your everyday? Yeah.
Sure. So the deliverables in a product marketing are again aligned to your marketing goal. And the marketing goal is depending on where your customer is. If you're familiar with the marketing funnel, somebody who is just at the top of the funnel, they might want a very high level information about your product. So that deliverable includes something like blog posts, case studies, webinars. Now, not all product marketeers work on that top level of the funnel marketing. Some marketeers work through the whole funnel, but some marketeers just work towards the end of the funnel, and that's what I do. And in that case, there's a lot of stuff that you need to finally make the client or the customer sign up for your product or service. And that includes stuff like case studies and data sheets, client-facing documents. Yeah, mostly that.
Awesome. No, that's really helpful. Thank you. The other question I had really was around what are some product marketing myths?
I hear this word a lot, like when somebody says, "Can you make this pretty?" And I'm like, should I put lipstick on it? I don't understand when people say, "Can you make it pretty?" But uh, jokes aside, I I hear a lot that product marketing is very tactical, but I would say it's not. It is not tactical. As I said, we all work for a business, and the business has a goal that we need to achieve this much revenue in this financial year, and your product marketing is helping you do that along with other stakeholders. So definitely product marketing is here not to make things pretty, but they are a strategic partner in the whole revenue process and product adoption process. And I would say another thing that I get to hear often is we don't really understand what is happening behind the scenes when somebody is making a product, which is not true. Because as I mentioned, we actually bring the insights from the customers and market to the product manager, who then builds the features and the products. So to say that we don't work with the product managers or help them build the product is not true. And yeah, I mean, those are the pet peeves or the myths that I've heard, and I don't generally agree with them, and I even have good good objection handling for the same.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And I mean, I myself like pivoted from product marketing, actually from marketing to product marketing and then into
Yeah.
product management. So I completely agree with you there. But speaking about that, I'd love for you to kind of go a bit deeper and double click into this, topic about differences between marketing, and product management in just like briefly, if you're able to.
Gotcha. So again, as I mentioned that, in certain circumstances, product marketing is a part of product management in certain organizations, and in certain organization, it's a part of marketing. Um, I would say that there isn't really a difference between marketing and product marketing. Marketing is like the bigger umbrella that encompasses everything. That's digital marketing, content marketing, and events marketing. But in terms of differences between product management and product marketing, I would say is that, the product manager really, really works hard to make the product wholesome, but the product marketeer is the one who brings the value in the customer's mind. And in my day-to-day life, when working with product managers, when we get together, we are always thinking from a client's point of view. But a product manager not only thinks from a client's point of view, but from not a customer point of view, but also from a user point of view. And another difference that I would say is that product managers really need to know their products inside out, and really need to work to innovate to keep on making it better, and just keep it keep it working in such a way so that you can sustain the growth over long term. And from a product marketeer's from point of view, this sustainability is from a customer's point of view. You want to make sure that your customer does not churn, or your growth does not go down, and you do not lose your customers to the client. So yeah, I feel like that is another difference between a product manager and product marketeer.
For sure. No, thank you for that. And, kind of dialing back, which is like, how did you get into product marketing?
Okay.
I know you briefly spoke about like
Yeah.
your journey into, from MBA and then you got into product marketing, but like you also spoke to me before everybody entered the room that, you were like you're thinking about product management versus product marketing. So what made you choose product marketing?
Yeah, sure. So, as I said, I spent around 5 years being an advertising copywriter because I liked writing. And over there, I did a lot of persona creation and customer research and positioning and messaging, and that really solidified my interest in marketing. And when I came to business school, I was just interested in marketing, like whether it's product marketing or content marketing. I was not really looking for a particular path. It just happened to me. Somebody advised me you can be a product manager, and I started not interviewing but just preparing for those interviews. But then I realized that a lot of the interviews that I got were for product marketing, maybe because it aligned with my skills in positioning, messaging, and customer research. So I was like, yeah, why not? I mean, I'm clearly a better fit for this. And yeah, I just prepared for product marketing interviews and, really brought across the value from my advertising experience and, the projects that I did in MBA school and my internship. And that helped me land my first job at, uh, at CenturyLink and then at TransUnion.
Awesome. No, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And then, what are some skills, competencies, and tools specifically that aspiring product managers or product marketeers, product managers, I think both of them, right,
Yeah.
should really sharpen, in your opinion?
Yeah, definitely. I think first one is to be a great communicator. I
Mhm.
think it is really important, not only when you're working within the organization, but also, as I mentioned, when you're articulating that value to your customer. And when I say have great communication, I don't mean that you have to be a wordsmith, but just a simple act of telling your idea in the most simple but impactful way is really important. And that comes with practice, 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 practice. Secondly is aligning your goals to that of the whole organization. A lot of times we get stuck with our marketing plans or with our product, but
Mm.
we at the end of the day need to know that whatever we are doing is to drive revenue for our organization. And we have to constantly monitor that whatever our efforts are they actually bringing in that revenue that we aspire for.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes product marketeers falter in that because they do not list down the OKRs that they are working for. And I feel that that's very important when you create a go to market strategy, or when you even start a new quarter, to see how am I adding value. If somebody asks you, okay, so you did this case study, how did it add value? Did it bring in a new customer? Did it help a customer from churning? You need to have all of those metrics in. And lastly, I would say, you know effective stakeholder management. As I said, there are different stakeholders in an organization, and their objectives will be different than yours, right? I'm trying to get I'm trying to get, say, more case study clients, and get more customers for my product. But maybe the salesperson is just trying to upsell a new product to an existing customer. So I feel like you need to be mindful when you're managing those relationships, support them when they're needed, but at the same time be authentic and be clear about the objective of that partnership.
Absolutely love that. And I think you articulated that so well.
Yeah.
There's a question that's come in here from Maddie.
Yeah.
How has an MBA contributed to your career growth, especially as a PMM?
Awesome, thank you. I love that question. So before an MBA, as I mentioned, I had a liberal arts degree. I had a journalism degree, and I learned everything about marketing from my advertising role, right? Whether it's customer research, persona creation, but I still felt like I lacked that traditional discipline
Yeah.
just about business, right? Like I did not know what an EBITDA is, or I did not know a lot of stuff about finance, and why should it matter to me as a product marketeer. And honestly, I was in traditional marketing. I was not like working for a tech digital marketing house.
Mm.
And that role was kind of dying. Like traditional advertising was kind of phasing out, and I decided to pivot to tech, and that's when I, you know, joined business school. In business school, especially subjects like economics, finance, accounting really helped me understand how a business works. What's the balance sheet of a company? Like, how do you show profit? All of these things. I mean, I did not get an A in accounting. I'll be honest with you. I got like a B plus or an A minus, I think. But I'm happy with that because now I know how a business works, right? And I know what is, customer churn by attending all of those strategy classes. So really picking and choosing your electives are, by the way, important. And it also like helped me build that discipline of of data regarding whatever work I do. And honestly, a lot of marketing stuff also I learned from my business school. I know a lot of people say that, oh, we learned everything on the job. I did learn a lot of marketing frameworks in my job, but like I mentioned, the book by Tim Colkin, that is something that was actually taught in my business school marketing curriculum. And I use it in my regular, day-to-day job. I use the frameworks from there to create a marketing plan. So I feel like my MBA degree really helped me elevate my existing marketing knowledge and made me more rounded as a business person. So when somebody comes and talks to me about business, I'm not blank. I know what exactly is relevant to me and how I can add value in the whole
Yeah.
process and how I can make an impact.
I love that. And so do you feel like you're going, you may pivot into on the business side of things at some point? Is that an aspiration, or do you think you're going to stick here in product marketing for now, and then if a opportunity presents itself, like where are you at? Where do you see
Uh,
yourself in 5 years from now?
I'll be a product marketer person. I think that product marketing is very much aligned with the business side of things. And maybe I might pivot to a B2C brand. I don't know. But yeah, I plan to be in product marketing. I think it's a very exciting field to be in. And there is innovation pretty much every day. There's like so many things to learn. And I'm still learning. I did not know half of these things 2 years ago. So yeah, I plan to be here.
Um, Another question from me, and then I
Mm.
guess we'll have a couple of questions coming in.
Sure.
What's your advice to those who are looking to get into product marketing?
Sure. I would say like don't stress it out. When I'll give you very practical tips. I'm not going to give you like tips that are vague. One thing is this: do not hold yourself back. Even if you do not meet 100% of the job qualifications, still go ahead and apply. I have seen so many women just hold themselves back and not apply to jobs because they think I need to like have 100% of the. Please no. But please articulate that how can I bring value to the organization and that you're willing to learn things that you don't know. Secondly, please customize your resume according to the job description. Even if you have a lot of B2B experience, but you're applying to a company that is B2C, see what are the skills that they're asking for and mention them exactly in your resume. I think that is it's time consuming, but it is really important. And lastly, I would say that again, as I mentioned, always show the impact and the value that you had. um, for example, I see people write, oh, I created this GTM plan for this product launch. Talk about what did you do within the GTM plan, what was the time frame, and what were the KPIs related with it, and say it in the most succinct way as possible. um, and one last thing I would like to say is that a lot of times in product marketing they ask you for writing samples
Mm.
because positioning and messaging is so important. Create an online portfolio or just like even a Google Drive link that links to these samples within your resume, right? because I have been asked that, and I have linked it in my resume so that they know when I say I created a case study, they can click on that link and see what I have written. That is really important, at least according to me. And again, as I said, that please be gentle on yourself. We are not all born product marketeers. We learn and we evolve the more time we spend in our roles and in our career. So if you find a rejection, try to get some feedback, and if they don't, try to learn and move on. And eventually, you'll land a role that best suits your skills, and just try to excel in it.
I love that. That's so awesome. I mean, that's really, really authentic and great feedback. Thank you. There's one question which has come here about like,
Sure.
do you think hiring managers value PMM certifications? A lot of jobs don't seem to mention it.
That's a good question. I I mean, I wouldn't care about a certification, to be honest. Um, I would do it just for myself. Like, what am I getting to learn something that I don't know? Nobody asked me for a certification, honestly. So do a certification just for yourself so that you know certain things when asked for in an interview. Nobody has to teach you that, or you're not spending time learning that when you've already started the job. When you started the job, you need to be prepared, right?
Yeah.
So you can use that certification for your own learning. But as a hiring manager, I don't think people put that much stress on certifications.
Yeah. Thank you. And we have about 5 minutes left. I just want to give everybody the opportunity. If anybody has questions, feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, we can start wrapping up for the evening. And while anybody raises their hand or a question comes in, Donnie, I know you briefly touched upon some of your favorite books,
Yeah.
but and you don't have to answer that right this minute. Feel free to send the resources, and we'll send it out to everybody who signed up for today. But
Yeah.
are there any resources that you recommend for jobs, or any other communities, podcasts, Instagram accounts to follow, or anything else in general?
Yeah, definitely the products by women community. I told you. I mean, the fact that all of this knowledge and networking opportunities are available without any cost, I think that's pretty cool, right? I think they're on Instagram. You can definitely follow them. Other than that, I read a book called The First 90 Days. A lot of people think that it's like an onboarding book. I think it's important only not for onboarding, but also like if you're starting a new role or you're being promoted within your organization. And just generally, the advice in that book is really helpful in terms of leadership and in terms of the impact that you'll have within the organization, especially for women. I think it's really, really helpful for women because we don't really toot our horn, right? Especially when it comes to our achievements. So I would definitely ask you to read that book. I haven't read it complete. I've read it like read only half of it, but definitely read that book. It's called The First 90 Days.
Yeah, I just dropped the Amazon link for anyone who's
Yeah.
interested in learning more about it. We are at 5:57. I want to be mindful of time and thank you. Any parting words, Donnie, before we start wrapping things up?
Well, thank you. Thanks for like taking the time today to come to my presentation, and thanks Naimisha for providing the opportunity. I will share the slides. People can get access to the slides after this. If you want to get in touch with me, just shoot me an email. And yeah, as I said, don't be too hard on yourself. You will eventually land a job. I can promise you that you like and that best fits your skills. And yeah, it's a learning process. Um, you'll eventually get wherever you want to, and I wish you best of luck.
Thank you so much. And the recording is going to be posted and shared after this session. You can expect it to come through by this weekend or Monday. I did drop Donnie's LinkedIn, so do connect with her. She's amazing. She's also on our Slack, so you can reach out to her there. With that, I'm gonna start. I'll close down the session, and happy Friday, everyone. Have a great weekend. For those of you who have a day off next week, enjoy the long weekend.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye bye.
I see you.
Bye.
Bye.